Imagine two nations, separated by oceans, cultures, and beliefs, yet tied together by a conflict that refuses to end. Missiles cross the sky, warships patrol dark waters, and millions hold their breath. The conflict between the United States and Iran is not just another war. It is a story that began decades ago and still threatens the world today. It may be hard to believe now, but the United States and Iran were once close allies. During the Cold War, America supported Iran's ruler, Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. The Shah was seen as a powerful partner in the Middle East. He built a modern army, modern cities, and strong economic ties with the West. To American leaders, Iran was a symbol of stability. But inside Iran, many people felt differently. Many believed the Shah ruled with fear. Critics were arrested. Protesters disappeared. And ordinary citizens felt their country was no longer truly independent. Anger grew quietly, until it finally exploded. In 1979, Iran erupted in revolution. Millions of protesters filled the streets. The Shah fled the country, and a new leader returned from exile, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. The revolution transformed Iran into an Islamic republic. The new government rejected Western influence, especially the United States. But the moment that truly changed history came later that same year. A group of Iranian students stormed the American embassy in Tehran. They captured dozens of American diplomats. For 444 days, the hostages were held prisoner. Americans watched the crisis on television every night. Fear turned into anger. Trust between the two nations collapsed. From that moment on, the United States and Iran became enemies. The decades that followed became a silent war, not always fought with armies, but with influence. The United States placed heavy economic sanctions on Iran. Iran's economy struggled. Inflation rose. Jobs disappeared. Meanwhile, conflicts across the Middle East became battlegrounds for influence. In Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, the two nations supported opposite sides. Each side blamed the other for violence. Each side prepared for the possibility of war. But one issue stood above all others: nuclear weapons. American leaders feared Iran was secretly building a nuclear bomb. Iran insisted its nuclear program was peaceful. The disagreement pushed the countries closer to confrontation. The nuclear dispute became the center of global tension. Intelligence reports warned that Iran was enriching uranium. Enough enrichment could lead to nuclear weapons. The United States and its allies demanded limits. Years of negotiations followed. Agreements were signed, then broken. Promises were made, then abandoned. Every failure increased suspicion. Every delay increased fear. Military planners on both sides prepared for the worst. War games simulated attacks. Missiles were tested. Defense systems were upgraded. The possibility of war was no longer distant. It was becoming real. Tensions reached dangerous levels in the 21st century. Drone strikes, cyber attacks, and assassinations became part of the conflict. One attack led to another. Retaliation followed retaliation. Each incident pushed the countries closer to open war. Warships from both nations began operating in the Persian Gulf. Fighter jets patrolled the skies. Missiles stood ready. One mistake, one miscalculation, could trigger disaster. And eventually, the line was crossed. When direct strikes began, the world realized the danger was real. Military bases became targets. Explosions lit up the night. Missiles traveled hundreds of miles in minutes. Soldiers prepared for attacks at any moment. Civilians feared what might come next. Oil routes became dangerous. Ships avoided key areas. Prices around the world began to rise. The conflict was no longer just regional. It affected everyone. Today, the future remains uncertain. Some leaders call for peace. Others prepare for escalation. A single decision could expand the war. New allies could join. New battles could begin, or negotiations could finally succeed. No one knows what will happen next. But one thing is certain: the conflict between America and Iran did not begin overnight. It was built over decades. A story of mistrust, power, and fear. And until those forces change, the shadow of war will remain.